like Hannah kind of already mentioned, our next agent, managing director, KJN Advisors. Not only is he a great advisor, he's a great person. He's become a personal friend, and he's a graduate of our Agent Shift program. So folks, please welcome Kevin. So Kevin, let's go back to kind of the start, because I think you joined Juicebox September kind of 2022. So you've been with us, 6-8 months kind of thing. So do you mind giving us some context before you joined Juicebox, when you were kind of making that decision to come on? What was happening broadly in the life insurance career? Were things, going real well? What were you struggling with? Maybe some of the biggest challenges that you were struggling with?
Sure. So my story is kind of unique. I've been in the insurance world and sales since 2009, when I was more involved in the employee benefits space, doing supplemental health insurance. And then when the pandemic hit, it kind of screwed up business majorly. When you're selling to companies and those companies no longer exist because they lay off all their employees due to COVID, makes things a little tricky. But throughout my insurance career, I had always been fascinated with advanced markets and how people can utilize properly structured life insurance policies, annuities, things like that to build wealth, prepare for the future, retirement, all that types of stuff. And I was really trying to find my way into that world. So I started working with an IMO in probably the end of 2021. But it was more, the classic life insurance, selling mortgage protection, final expense, term life, that type of thing. It wasn't really what I was looking to do. And again, it was the carousel hamster wheel of buy leads, spend 25 hours a day on the phone, chase people all over the state. It just was exhausting for someone like me who had already had a decade plus in the industry. I'm a father of two. A husband, I couldn't work those kinds of crazy hours and still feel like I was doing my job as a husband and father. And it, at the same time, wasn't what I wanted. And I wasn't making the money I thought I would be able to make. To be perfectly frank, I was in the red for most of that time, maxing out credit cards, things like that, which again, as a responsible husband and father, started to feel a little irresponsible. So I came across a Facebook ad for Juicebox with Jim. And funny enough, another agent from the same IMO I was working with at the time. And I said, wait a minute, I need to listen to this. So you remember, I reached out to you and before I made any decisions, I had you talk to me and my wife, because, she is my director of operations. Got to make sure.
And we can see Miranda pictured behind you over your left shoulder there as well.
There she is in her beautiful wedding dress.
Love
Absolutely.
It. So of course, what I'm hearing, you were kind of in this term world. You were in the mortgage protection, the final expense kind of space. You were buying the leads. You were doing the thing that every agent does. So what was the biggest, problem in doing that, or the biggest challenge holding you back from getting to that side of the business? Because of course, you're a smart guy. You've tried to do things before. What did you find was that biggest challenge, if you can speak to that?
To be honest, the biggest challenge was exactly why I came to Juicebox: structure and support. It was very difficult feeling like a man on an island, and the majority of support I got was go watch YouTube and figure it out on your own. Call the carrier, figure it out on your own. And not having a system, a repeatable system. You talk to any entrepreneur, anyone who's in business for themselves or has ever grown a business, the number one thing they say that's led them to be successful is a system. And when I met with you and you explained how Juicebox has a system and how that system worked and the structure that goes along with that, it became something that I could easily see myself adapting. And to be able to, contact support, jump on live Zoom calls with veteran producers, with, the top agents within Juicebox. I mean, it's completely changed my career trajectory, and I'm in a better place mentally, financially, and overall. I'm just a happier, healthier person because I started working at Juicebox. I'm grateful for finding you guys.
Look, 6 months, right? It's a learning curve. You went through our Agent Shift. You graduated onto our Agent Shift Plus. Can you share broadly, roughly, in terms of that financial impact for you? What can you quantify what that financial impact for you has been to this date in terms of your relationship with Juicebox?
Yeah, absolutely. And for everyone on the call too, you should also know that while I quote unquote started in September, my real results didn't come until I fully bought into the system. In the beginning, I tried to hack the system, which I do not recommend doing, where I took the principles and the strategies that Juicebox was teaching me in the Agent Shift program, and then tried to fit a square peg into a round hole and apply them to what I had been doing previously with mortgage protection, term, and final expense. When I finally stopped getting in my own way and started following the system the way it was meant to be followed, that's when my results really took off. And unfortunately for me, I also went through a lot of personal turmoil in the last 6.5 months, losing my father in January and obviously moving into a new home in February. So there was a solid 2 months there where, to be totally honest, I wasn't working all that often. So the results that I've gotten in my own eyes, and this is not bragging or anything, I feel are very impressive. And it's because of that system. I've done about 75,000 in target AP since I started. Target premium, which with advanced commissions and everything else has generated well over $40,000 of income for me and my family. And that's with me buying into the system full time, October, November, December, and then getting back on the horse March and April after dealing with some very difficult times in my family. So if you want to look at it that way, it's really been 4.5, 5 full months of working. And now I can't tell you how life-changing it's been being on the calls, working with the Juicebox partners, guys like Mike Milligan, Seth, Jim. I've even made some great relationships with other members of the Agent Shift program, like Kyle Demian and I. We talk all the time and kind of brainstorm back and forth. So it's a great community, not just to learn how to make more money, but to actually help people and sharpen your sword and get better at your craft and build real relationships. If I ever have another son, I'm going to name him Jared. Just kidding.
No, I'm holding. This is recorded, folks, and so I want to.
Oh, it's recorded. It's on in perpetuity.
Will be, yes. So first and foremost, and we're seeing so much of this in the chat as well, is condolences about the loss of your father. I know how important he was to you, and
that's him right there.
Just your resiliency. There he is. So maybe a brief moment of silence for him and you going through that. Family always takes priority, and those relationships are so important. Something that I heard there as you were describing it, Kevin, was you were talking about you could have seen better results had you followed the system right off the bat. Yes. What was that defining moment for you? What made you realize I need to commit fully? I really need to just follow this system completely and let go of those past assumptions. Was there a moment for you that stood out?
There was two. One was when I had my first check-in call with Gemma, and it kind of just shined a light in my face that, like, you're not doing what you promised yourself you would do. And then it was a conversation with my wife where, she had been involved in the beginning and was kind of wondering, like, what's going on? How's it been going? And I said, well, I'm not sure. And then she kind of dug in, like, why isn't it working the way you thought it would work? And then when I had to kind of face that reality and look at it in the mirror, she's like, stop being stupid. I was like, okay, you're right. That's why you're the brains of the outfit. And that's when the light bulb kind of went off. And then in October, November, December, I had 3 of the best months in not just my Juicebox career, but my career from 2009 till now. So yeah, just don't try to reinvent the wheel. It's a system for a reason.
I saw a chat comment pop up, who I believe is also in our Agent Shift or Agent Shift Plus program. He asked a great question. What weren't you doing compared to what the system teaches? Was there one thing specifically, or was it just a broad?
There were many things. Number one, I was not using the CRM properly. I kept calling from my personal cell phone instead of actually going through the CRM and using the system, which I have to tell you, if you're not using the Juicebox CRM to its fullest, you're crazy. One of my absolute favorite things now is whenever I do a qualifying call with a prospective client, I can really just focus on being in the call, being present, listening, and talking and discovering the problem and ultimately being able to derive a solution down the road, because I can go back and listen to it again. I'm not now sitting there with a pen and a paper trying to furiously write down every single thing the person is saying. because I know I can go back and re-listen to that call again. And sometimes I listen to them twice just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And a lot of times I'll write down key phrases that the prospective client said, so that when I have my next meeting with them over Zoom, I can literally show them in quotations, on our call, you said this, and then show them how I've developed a solution for the problem that they have in being a persistent professional. So that was one of the things. The other thing I kept trying to do was, for those who are in the system already and using the templates for presentations when you're doing Zoom meetings, I would copy it into a PowerPoint, change it all around to my own way to try and make a mortgage protection slideshow instead of a TFRA slideshow, and see if I could present mortgage protection that way. And ultimately what I was doing was presenting a good idea. I was giving them something that made sense, but I wasn't
People
solving.
don't buy products.
Right.
They buy solutions
to real problems that they're fully aware of and have an intense desire to solve.
For everybody else in the call that may not know, give you a little bit of context. That is a mantra that we live our lives by. But Kevin, you brought up the system piece, and that system component are tools, right? So when we talk about, the qualification script, we go through the financial forecasts or financial forecast tools, our presentation. How have, if at all, how have those tools changed the way that you position and sell IUL and annuity?
Oh my God, are you kidding me? It's the night and day difference. It gives you a roadmap. It shows you exactly what you should be doing. And then the fact that you have support there to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking based on this amount of assets, this target time to retirement. This is what this person wants to accomplish. I think it should go this way. What do you think? And having a panel of experts with decades plus experience, proven track records for success, be able to say to you, yeah, no, that's a great idea. You should go that way. Or, no, that's a good idea, but what if you did this instead? Like that level of support, being able to access geniuses of the industry has been huge. And then in terms of, everybody wants to understand the system. The system's not overly complicated. It's spelled out for you right in your CRM on what you should be doing. There's call cadences, there's scripts, everything is there for you. If you, similar to me, came from an IMO where they didn't give you any of that, or there was 20,000 different scripts based on whoever came up with the script that day, and 20 million different ways to do something, depending on which YouTube video you were watching. It felt very, where am I going? Lost in the wind. Whereas here I have a clear-cut path in front of me, and as long as I stick to it, the results happen, and they continue to happen. And for that, I'm Kevin, eternally grateful.
Last final really quick question here. When you think about folks that maybe are thinking about making that leap over to join Juicebox, maybe they don't know a ton about us yet. My question though is, when you think about those people, contemplating making that leap, what would you say to that person 6 months into that journey with Juicebox? What would you say to that person with hindsight as knowledge?
What I would say is, there's really nothing to lose. And you really have to just look yourself in the mirror and say, what is it I want out of this industry? Like, what do I want to accomplish? If your goal is to help more people, put them in a better financial situations, and offering them a solution that can genuinely help them in their financial situation and put them in a better place for the rest of their life, versus selling them something they may not necessarily need, but will get you paid pretty quick, I think, the answer is go with Juicebox. At the same time, if you're trying to build your own business and build a career, and you don't want to be in that model of having to recruit every single person you meet and build a team of thousands of people, if you're like me and you just want to produce and take care of your family and help people, I think this is the best avenue for that. And if you want to have support and education and really be able to grow as a professional, to me, there's no better option out there.
I appreciate you sharing that. And I promise we didn't even pay him to say that, folks. Can we just give a big, applause to Kevin? Thank you for his time. He didn't have to do this. I think you offered so much value. And Kevin, knowing you personally, like, this is really just the start of that journey for you. You have such a bright future in this industry. Yeah, you've made such an impact on everybody on the team, on your clients, and that is only going to be magnified in the future. Keep the juice flowing, my friend. We've got big things to go. Lots of thank yous from everybody. Love it, everybody. That's wonderful. So thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Big thank you, Jared and Hannah and everybody on the Juicebox team. Wouldn't be here without you. Thanks.